the companies what is permitted in terms of trading, inspections, and wrongdoing and share dealing. Sports Direct is an example of a large sports company which is being registered to the Company House in Cardiff. Sports Direct has been given procedures and guidelines to follow, but they have not followed them, so now they are in trouble and they have broken the law from doing so. Small businesses like a personal trainer will deal with a lot of cash work, and most of their work is one-on-one with a client, so a client just gives the um, personal trainer the money after the session, and it's only a small amount each time. When a small sports company like a personal trainer deals with a lot of cash, they need to make sure it is filled into their accounts so the tax inspector can see it. Also, they don't get into trouble for dodging tax. The Fair Trading Act of 1973. The Fair Trading Act was updated in 2002. After this change in 2002, the new name for the act was the Enterprising Act. The Enterprise Act and the Competition Act together manage how companies trade and how much business they have. They also manage how companies merge with each other and compete for business. The Fair Trading Act controls business and prevents larger businesses dominating the market. A good example of the use of this act is when Lloyd's TSB was dominating the market, so they were forced to split into two different companies, Lloyd's and TSB. This act can have an influence on sporting businesses as if it's a popular, successful sporting business does very well, and it is very popular. They will be forced to split or reduce the amount of shops as the Fair Trading Act would say they have. Too much of the market share, so it is not giving small businesses a chance. If the Fair Trading Act does this to a company, it could make them go out of business, and they could lose customers. And losing customers normally means a loss in profit or even a loss overall. The Health and Safety Act, 1974. The Health and Safety Act makes sure that all the companies, no matter how big or small, have health and safety policies and providing training for their staff. All companies, not just sporting ones, should have guidelines set out what the employer's duties are, make sure everyone is safe, just staff, non-employees as well. For example, customers and members of the public. The Health and Safety Act doesn't just set out guidelines for employees to follow, it has guidelines for members of staff as well. For example, in a supermarket, if there's a spillage, there is a staff responsibility to clean it up if they see it, to stop anyone slipping and getting hurt. The main principles of the Health and Safety at Work Act are to secure the health and safety of people at work, to protect everyone, including customers, against risks to health and safety arising as a result from the people at work, control handling and storage of dangerous substances, and finally control the emission of dangerous substances from the building. The employer is just responsible for the health and safety of all the people at work, and just doesn't include members of staff. It also includes people like customers, visitors, and members of the public whilst they are on the company's premises or using the equipment. In the Health and Safety at Work Act, is a term used and called reasonable and practical. Means that you are reasonably and responsible for everyone in your care and to be safeguarded, and you shouldn't take action to make sure they are safe if you feel like they are not, and you should think carefully and the consequences of your actions could have. For example, if a coach is leading a football session and he takes his jumper off and leaves it next to the pitch, then 5 minutes later a kid trips on it and sprains his ankle, the coach will be responsible as he put it there and didn't think of the consequences it may have. The members of staff also have other responsibilities to ensure everyone is safe, and some of these are take their own health and safety. Take care of others' health and safety who are under your supervision, and making sure all the equipment is safe to use and not misusing it to make it unsafe. This has a massive influence on sporting companies, as when completing physical activity or sport, you are open to gaining an injury. For example, if a coach is leading a session and a child gets hurt from tripping over a cone just chucked over to the side, the coach is liable to compensate for the child's injury and have put the cone there and not made the child aware of it. Another example of the Health and Safety Act works is an influence on supporting businesses is a personal trainer. Personal trainers are normally self-employed and lead sessions for people. If a personal trainer does not check his equipment over properly before a session, it breaks during the session, and the clients get hurt, their personal trainer can be sued and potentially go out of business. This is a good and bad influence on sporting businesses. It's a positive, as it makes sure that all people doing sporting sessions check their equipment over properly, but bad as it means lots of people can go out of business. Describe a basic cash flow for Brighton and Hove Albion. So cash flows and inflows. Cash inflows is what a company predicts to earn, or the amount they predict to bring into a certain amount of time. For example, Brighton could be predicted to bring in 4 million a month, having a cash inflow forecast which will help the company set targets and allow them to identify when their company is doing well for its income. Capital. Capital can have a couple of meanings, but in the context of a sport business, it means raw materials or cash used to generate income. This also relates to working capital. Working capital is the amount of money a business has to work with. This lets the business know how much money they can work with at the start, but it does vary with the inflow and the outflow of cash. Time of inflows. Timing of inflows is where the money is coming in and how regularly it comes in. Most sports businesses are affected by seasonality. Brighton and Hove Albion is affected by seasonality, as they don't get any income throughout the end of the season. So they have to make sure they earn enough throughout the season to last the season off. Big companies like Brighton don't need to worry about late payers, but if a smaller sports company was affected by seasonality, they should allow money for late payers to ensure they can afford to pay their own bills. Cash outflows. Cash outflows links to the cash inflows, as it means that they should be planned so that capitals is not run down to an unsafe level. They should also plan them so they can have enough money to pay bills and other payments that they need to keep their company afloat. But if they don't have enough money to pay bills continuously, it can cause the company to fold. To stop a company folding, they can arrange to get a loan or a bank overdraft to help them get out of their debt. Purchases. Brighton and Hove Albion need to make sure they control what they purchase. It makes during the year. This could be players or raw materials, for example. If they don't control what they purchase, they can make the club go bankrupt and they keep getting relegated down the leagues. This could eventually lead to them folding. When the club makes purchases, they can be influenced by the timings of the cash inflows. Wages. Wages are the amount of money that you pay off to your staff. Brighton and Hove Albion have lots of staff on high wages. That includes professional footballers that they employ who get paid in full 12 months a year, including the off season. As a result of this, Brighton have to manage their wages and work out how much they will need each month and to pay every member of staff. This may include paying national insurance and possibly paying into employees' pension funds. Members of staff can also do overtime, so the club needs to allow that for each month. Rent. Many sports clubs and businesses do not own their own premises, so they have to rent them and gain a lease. However, Brighton Hove Albion chairman owns the ground, so they do not have to pay monthly to rent it out. If they did have to rent it out, if they did have to rent it out, prices are usually the same steady figure throughout the year. To earn some extra money for the club, Brighton rents out the pitch at the end of the year season to fans. The promotion costs. The promotion cost is the amount of money that the company uses to promote itself. Other ways to promote yourself. Sorry. The promotion cost is the amount of money that company uses to promote itself. This can be done through the media as the main one, but there is lots of other ways to promote yourself. The 2015 to 2016 season, Brighton have been pushing for promotion, so they have had a lot of coverage on Sky Sports, so they have had a free promotion cost as everyone has seen them on TV and haven't had to promote themselves for a lot of the local community on TV. If a sports business does have to promote itself, it should be budgeted. If a sports business does have to promote itself, they should budget for this in their cash flow. This was my Unit 25.2 by Jordan Cornford. Thank you.